Good morning. Hello everybody. It's been a while. I've been back at work, and so unfortunately that means I haven't been able to do many videos. What I have been doing though is writing things down, and today I'm going to explain the electromagnetic field, the electromagnetic shield that covers the Earth, and any electromagnetic shield, whether it be an atom, a magnet, whatever. I'm about to show you how it's put together. We'll stick with the Earth because that would be easiest to think about. We have a shield, and it has perpendicular rings and spheres pushing outwards. They're all interconnect, but they're all traveling in opposite directions to each other. So basically, if you could see them all, it would look like a solid ball of light from the center out to the upper atmosphere, because matter can only move within an EM field, because energy has to move through the EM field, because that's where the energy is. It's in the EM field, and the EM field passes through all matter. That's what you need to understand. The construct is the electromagnetic field, the field of an atom. My atom that I've drawn, the hydrogen atom, it's in a lot of my other videos. It has two orbits. These two orbits are an electromagnetic field, and that is the part that is constructed. Then energy, which moves in a double helix, passes through the atom, pushing the electrons. Matter cannot move. Not even atoms can move, because they are a mechanical construct consisting of a hydrogen atom has two fields, two constructs, basically a wire frame. I've shown the drawing. It's in all my videos. It's a wire, literally, with an electron on, and energy pushes the electron around the atom. That's how they work. Nothing moves, only energy moves, and energy moves matter. Okay, with that being said, I'm now going to try and explain the next 4 pages of work that I've done. Sometimes it's a little difficult to even explain my own work, because things happen and thoughts bouncing in and out, and to me it's like a lesson that I just suddenly write out, and that's how it works. So even now I haven't looked at this for a couple of days, but it's been ongoing since like the 21st of March. That's written down in there. There's a little eureka moment right down there. Okay, let's go through the paper. Okay, so what we have at the top left is a double helix arrangement. It goes counterclockwise at the top, clockwise at the bottom, counterclockwise, clockwise. We've seen this in paintings, drawings, all kinds of artwork for styling and things like that, and it's always fascinated me, and I've put it underneath my own paintings and stuff like that. There's something about that shape. Well, yeah, it is again a double helix. It is like the endless line that philosophers talk about. So I'm going to explain it, because again it's a double helix rotation, and so everything is explained by this configuration of energy movement. So the thing is, that top left picture of like almost the figure eights running a line is so almost correct it's silly, because a double helix can be arranged anywhere as long as it's still a double helix. You can do anything with it. That's the whole point of electromagnetic radiation fields, bands, whatever you want to call them, is they can be bent by other opposing fields and changed into a different configuration. That means you can make any shape on and in heaven and earth. You can make any flower, you can make a square, you can make all the sacred geometry that you can think of, and it will produce that shape as long as you know where to push and pull the electromagnetic field. And you can cause it to do anything you want. I mean, imagine a balloon that you squeeze in your hand and the balloon bulges out either end. It's like that. It's as easy as that, as long as you know how to do it. But unless you're God, well, we don't know how to do it. Anyway, back to the drawing. If you look under the green writing at the top, You'll see that kind of Y shape with which says funnel underneath. We have if you follow that round, we have a counterclockwise rotation that then goes into one single clockwise rotation and then back out to the larger counterclockwise rotation. Now, if we jump down one line and go to the left, you'll see two circles with arrows going into the middle. That's the same configuration, but I've shown which direction the matter would actually go, because counterclockwise is in and clockwise is out when it comes to magnetic and electromagnetic fields. So counterclockwise is in. Our planet spins counterclockwise and we have a planet. So I'm going to apply this to planets right now. So if you follow the equal sign, it then shows counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise. These would be rings around the sun. So imagine you're looking at a cross section and the sun was slightly on the left and it was cut in half and you were looking at it sideways on. These would run in rings around the sun. A clockwise one, if you look down, there'll be a clockwise circle, counterclockwise circle, clockwise circle, counterclockwise. It also runs in the X and Y direction and everywhere else. But anyway, trying to keep it simple. So you have a counterclockwise rotation and a clockwise rotation. So inside these you get a planet, because counterclockwise is in. It pushes matter in. Clockwise pushes matter out. So I'm saying one, it is also electrical flow. Again, if you go back and look at my hydrogen atom with its two-flow direction, you will see through that video that I showed that it's also the flow of electricity, which is energy. So again, I have electrical flow. I also believe it is how the planets have planetary separation, because we have a clockwise and a counterclockwise, and planets are moving counterclockwise. Some have moved at a bit of an odd angle, but that's due to a universal voltage drop, which I've spoken about in other videos. So keep going across to the right. Okay, so we see I've got underlined there, clockwise is always smaller and counterclockwise is always larger, always on the outside normally, if you had a two orbital arrangement. Underneath that, counterclockwise causes the rollback buffering, cloud formation and electrical travel. If you've been watching my videos, you'd probably understand what that means, because in the smoke video the double helix wave formation goes up and the top rolls over and rolls around into a halo, and that was our sun halos and filaments video. So yeah, the counterclockwise causes a rollback buffering of the wave, which then forms into a ring, which is the counterclockwise and clockwise rotations you see again back on the left. That's why it does it. The clockwise rolls back, and then the counterclockwise rolls back, and then the clockwise goes straight through that, and it just keeps repeating. Okay, get down to the bottom left there. I realised you had to have obviously a returning connection. So I did an arrangement of the same thing up top, and again it is pretty much my hydrogen atom arrangement of twists and turns, and you have a counterclockwise to clockwise, clockwise to clockwise, clockwise to counterclockwise, and then a counterclockwise back to counterclockwise. Now I drew that and I knew it was correct, but I didn't even know why. Back in one of my old papers, that's actually a scroll arrangement. If you roll a scroll up and twist it and then push the ends together, you have your never-ending circle. That's how you make it. It's a rolled up scroll, twist it in the middle, and then stuff each end down the other's throat. That's a single double helix, the never-ending snake, whatever you want to call it. And there's a picture of it back in one of my videos, showing that if I drew lines across all that, you would see that it was a scroll that was twisted. So you'd have to go back to all my videos if you want to see that. So yeah, so I knew that that was important. So we're going to go across to the right hand side now at the bottom, and here's where I suddenly realized, because this is the same arrangement in smoke. I've got their true energy travel right here. It steps and then it's all fractal, same as steps in smoke, and that discovery happened at 11:56 AM on the 21st of March 2015. And as you can see, it's the same arrangement as the top, but I've put it into the configuration of smoke, and that will bring us to the next piece of paper which goes on from this. Okay, so once I realized that it steps like smoke and I've got the correct concept, Now I just need to draw it out. So top left, we've got that four-looped scroll, because if you draw lines between it and you give it a twist, that's what you get. I just haven't drawn the lines. Again, this came back to the cross. You can make of that what you will. I mean, you know, I've drawn 4 pictures there. It could be anything. It could be pareidolia. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to put it up there that is the cross, because that is the double helix arrangement. And well, there you go. It is a cross due to the arrangement of the loops. Anyway, that's that. Who cares? So then we got the numbered pictures there. So first off, we have number 1. There's your basic double helix, counterclockwise to clockwise. Number 2 shows you the arrangement of where they're linked. It would come up, it would go counterclockwise across to clockwise and then straight up. And picture number 3 is linking, because picture number 2 is the single one that would just keep repeating all the way up. Number 3 is now, here is another part of the construct. It's another wire in the wire mesh. Then we go to 4, we'll see it moving up. And we've got number 5. I've drawn it a little larger so that I can then show you a fractal of inside all those loops is the perpendicular vortex, which again is more energy going in the opposite direction. And that brings us back to our original wave formation of interlinking waves, which I showed months and months and months ago. That's all atomic wave interlinking, water wave interlinking, cloud wave interlinking. This is every single wave ever. So I think I'm on the right track. So there we go. That is the construction of the EM field. That is how it is linked together. That is the dragnet that God says we are in. And the EM field is the key. No EM field, no energy movement. That's why it's minus 275 degrees Celsius below zero in space. Now, that's not to say there's no EM field in space. There is. But the energy is so low, it's shrunk. That's the whole point of a universal voltage drop. The energy has shrunk, and so has the EM field. So the EM field is still out there, but there's so little energy in it, it's at minus 275 degrees. Because there's still more energy there. We think that's absolute zero, but that's just as far as we can measure and think, okay, that's no energy. But as we can see on screen, this energy formation is fractal, which means it always goes down into infinity because it always causes itself, which is really bizarre. But no, the flow of double helix creates a vortex inside it, which also then creates a vortex inside itself due to the nature of the travel of a double helix. It creates within itself, so it fills everywhere. That's why God says there is nothing but me. There's only Him. We're in Him. This is it. There's no outside to God, so to speak. There is only inside. Okay, so now I'm going to explain how this energy moves through an atom in a double helix. Which is basically the tree of life. So we're going to start in the top left and we're going to work our way across and then down and across. So we've got a hydrogen tree there, which is our 2 orbital arrangement. Now I've drawn straight lines just to make reference easier, but that again is the double helix. I've just drawn it with straight lines. Imagine they're really thin but twisted. That is a double helix, but I've dressed it as a tree because it kind of is like that. So what actually happens is, in that big circle in the center, that's the hydrogen atom arrangement I have of a 2 orbital atom. As you can see, there's a couple of straight lines in there with circles on the ends. That's because the tree of life has fruit on its branches. I've drawn just the hydrogen so we're not getting confused with hundreds of electrons or anything like that. So hydrogen has 2 electrons or 2 fruits on the end of those 2 branches. As it pushes downwards through the atom, if you see the arrow rotation, the energy is moving. It is twisting in a double helix as it rotates downwards. Just think of a DNA strand being pushed downwards so it rotates. On the end of those straight lines is a circle. That is the electron. It gets pushed into the atom. The electron appears because it's in the energy, and the construction of the atom is the matter. it inflates the matter. There's your electron. It runs around in a figure S, and then it comes back up through the middle on the inside second inner orbit arm, because it goes downwards, then it goes upwards. So one pushes down counterclockwise, one pushes up clockwise. The energy is what pushes out the atom with those tree branch arms with fruit on the end. Now if we move over to the right hand side, we will see at the top there, I've put one continuous flow with a question mark. I believe it's yes, as if it's like you're holding two ends of a spring and you push one end upwards and it pushes the other one down. So it's kind of doing it at the same time. But you see I've got the arrangement there of down and up for both rotational arms for the two orbits that we've got from the tree of life over on the left there. And the energy moves in a tree formation through atoms. And then we go to the picture of the atom just beneath it, because that's basically what they show in mainstream science. A lot of diagrams show that as the atom. We have our downwards counterclockwise rotation plus your upwards clockwise rotation. You end up with the atom on the right, which then spins and makes a ball with two orbits. So it's actually the tree arms that are pushing out the atom. So energy moving looks like a tree. It looks like a fir tree? Yes. Why? Because every single electrical field line must be contacted for it to move all atoms in existence. So if we look at that bottom picture there, we've got the tree of life and its fruit. Energy has every single electron on an arm up and down in a DNA configuration. So whichever atom comes into contact with that energy, it will get rotated, because that's the tree of life. And those are its fruits, which are actually electrons. So if we go from the bottom right corner to the center picture there, you'll see I've got the tree of life. Those would be all the lines of intersecting energy, because if you remember, a piece of DNA has connecting rungs, straight rungs, all the way across it, as the energy moves upwards in a V or downwards in a V. And that's again confirmed by my CME videos. So energy moves through DNA, touching all points, because it's a tree of life. And on the left there we've got the DNA strand, and I've got my tree of life there. I've got my fruits, and yeah, that's how the tree of life works. Those are the fruits on the tree, which are electrons, and they push through atoms, spiraling as they go, pushing out matter to form the electron shell. The matter gets left behind because the energy is moving at the speed of light, and the matter cannot, so it leaves matter behind to form a shell in a wave formation. And yeah, that's the tree of life right there. Matter cannot move. Energy turns atoms. We all talk about eating food to get energy, so how more plain could it be? We take energy from food, but energy is everywhere, and it's turning every single atom because it's in the EM field, which runs through everything. And finally, I'm just going to show what the Lorenze Force actually is in a railgun. I know it's kind of off topic, but it popped in my head while I was writing all that other stuff out due to rotations. If we look in the center picture, if you check on the outside, it says counterclockwise on the left, clockwise on the right, and I show just a loop of counterclockwise loops going up, then across, and then down clockwise on the other side of the main picture with the swirlies inside it. That's just to show the travel of the energy in a double helix. So here's what's happening. That clockwise rotation on the right is causing a clockwise rotation in the center of electromagnetic energy. Those clockwise are on the right all the way up to the top. The left is a counterclockwise rotation causing the energy inside it to be created into a counterclockwise rotational tornado. Then any matter that is placed within that, a projectile from a railgun, where those points touch, that again causes a rotation of counterclockwise and clockwise in the center, which, you know, apparently I hear it's called the Lorenze Force, but it's where these touch, where matter is super accelerated through the middle. So that's how the Lorenze force works. I don't know if anybody else has explained it, I really don't know, but I'm just re-explaining how it really works, because I know how energy travels, and this is what it does. It creates a vortex perpendicular to the original flow, and that's what causes the force through the center to be accelerated. And it's kind of like trying to imagine an ejector seat. They used to design ejector seats with one continuous burst, but they found out that that destroyed men's backbones and all their bodies. So what they did was, inside every ejector seat, it explodes about 6 times. I don't know the exact number, that's a rough guess, but I know it's several. There are several explosions so that you can be accelerated. We do it with gears. You've got the speeds of airplanes of Mach 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can't just suddenly zoom to Mach 4, you'd explode, because you would rotationally turn counterclockwise and roll back on yourself, and the entire projectile would be destroyed. And so it has to be accelerated. So each one of these counterclockwise and clockwise rings, for all the stages 1, 2, 3 and 4 going up, if you can imagine a straight line horizontal cutting each one between each one, so you'd have 4 lines. That is the super large sphere of energy that it has created. So each one is actually a power above the next one, like an atom. The energy from the first level plus the distance between the second level equals the second level. So you've actually got powers of acceleration happening here. And so when you put a projectile in it, that's why it's twice the speed of a normal projectile now, because normal projectiles have relatively got 1 thrust. This has powers of thrust. And that's how the Lorenze force works. And if you look on the right hand side, again, because of the vortex, it creates another double helix flow, which then has 2 more vortexes inside it. That's why it's fractal, that's why it keeps repeating, and that's why it works for everything. And finally, for any non-believers that have been watching all the way to the end here, this page was, I just kind of drew it out the other day of things that I have accomplished, or did I want to accomplish, but I think I've pretty much done everything on screen that I've written, and pretty much most of the drawings around the outside are the simple explanations of exactly what everything is and how it all works. And if that doesn't give a real scientist any ideas, then you really aren't understanding anything. So what do I have? I had the objective to link a double helix wave formation. You can see the 2 arrows between it there. That's a rolling wave, and then the actual double helix. And trying to link the double helix energy theory to all creation, and so far I've linked it to atomic waves, water waves, clouds, X-flares, the Mars car, galaxy formation, wind which is non-existent, DNA, power movement, Fibonacci sequence including sacred geometry, plant growth, stems, leaves, light as a particle and a wave, which is also an atomic wave, atomic construction, radiation travel, which is all energy travel, all tornadoes and funnels, tree bark, tree limbs, split points, the tree of life, sunspots, sinkholes, Russian ones, filaments and halos in the sun, the universe brain neuron configuration. I haven't done that one, but it doesn't really matter. Smoke, showing that is the travel which goes up across to the right and up, which is why the EM field construction is based that way, because that's the way the energy is flowing, because it's flowing through the EM field. Smoke has scrolls, showing that energy is actually a scroll, and smoke goes into scrolls, and that's how energy passes, and that's how matter has to pass. The universe is 1s and 0s. We have it in computers. The universe is made of 1s and 0s in there. Well, that's pretty funny, and that's why they're able to create such fantastic things, because our universe is also made of 1s and 0s. I've got it at the top of the page there on the left. They're not 1s and 0s. Matter is moved by either a vortex or a sphere. It is either counterclockwise, which pushes matter in to create the vortex, or it is clockwise rotation, which is matter out to form a sphere. So you either get something in the center or something on the outside. 1s and 0s. A vortex or a sphere of matter. Then we had CMEs, energy moves matter. These are all videos that I've done. Electrical travel, lightning, the cross. Lots and lots of corresponding scripture proving God is doing everything for us. Basically, what have I got written there? Then on top of that, I will place a double helix energy flow, which I've done for everything, to show where the double helix comes from. Basically, it is the perpendicular flow that creates itself. The vortex moves material. The DNA rotation powers matter. How? How does it power it? It's energy, which is electrical, which is electromagnetism and electricity and every other thing that you want to think of about electromagnetism. And it's all coming from God's hand in Habakkuk 3:4. See the Hebrew version, because that gives you the original context, where it says it's two horns, which I've got up on the top left, which is two opposing spirals. And that's what God is. God is energy. Even scripture says God will come as a whirlwind. Double helix energy is a whirlwind. So everything in scripture that talks about God being a whirlwind, or God holding out his hand, because the energy is coming out of his hand in Habakkuk 3:4, and in Ezekiel 47:9, check the Hebrew again, it's coming from his innermost parts, and everything that this double torrent, a double helix of energy touches, will have life. So there we go. I hadn't done a video in a while, and this one's quite a long one, so hopefully everybody stayed to the end, and I do thank you for that. But yeah, there we go. So these are all the things that I have sorted out, if there's any non-believers watching. And if you know science, you'll know that it hasn't figured out any of these things in the format that I have figured them out. And it was all given in visions for 3 weeks in May 2014, almost a year now. And I'm still, each video could be 2 hours long if I wanted it, but nobody's going to watch for that long. It's taken a whole year to get all this out of my head. So you can probably imagine, you know, if I've made mistakes in the videos, it's by accident. I'm trying to interpret what I've seen. When men talk about, oh, the Bible's this and the Bible's that, and that's a contradiction here, they might well be. I haven't seen one yet that I can't explain as not being a contradiction, and I'm always open to questions. And anybody inquiring about the scripture, you know, send me a message. I'll answer whatever you have a question about. But yeah, it's, you know, it's been a year. I could have made loads more videos if I wasn't working, but you know, got to feed the family and all that, and stay busy. But yeah, I've taken 3 weeks visions went on for, and I've so far pulled a year's worth of information out. And you know, half the time I'm walking around talking to the air, explaining what I'm looking at, because my brain just says, hey, look at that. So it's all good. So thank you for watching, if you've watched all the way to the end. Yeah, the Lord has allowed me to figure out everything, and just basically knowing that energy travels in a double helix and matter cannot move unless energy passes through it means that any science, any ology, any ism doesn't even matter. Whatever science you have, if you know how energy travels, you know what things will do. So hopefully this will help a lot of people. Okay, well, that was a fun one for me. Thanks very much. My name is Lee, and I am a Christian.